All right, happening now, organizers are getting ready for another round of Albuquerque police protests.
But this time, something different is going to happen. The protests will also have a clothing and food drive for the homeless. Now, the protest was supposed to happen today around 4 o'clock in the afternoon at Civic Plaza. According to the Facebook page, about 600 people or so will be attending. We will let you know how this round of protests goes later on KRQE, and of course always on KRQE.com. This morning, details are surfacing about an Albuquerque teen who is at the center of a nationwide Amber Alert.
Yeah, some say this is disturbing, and it looks like it is not the first time Lacey DeWent, who's just 14 years old, has met up with the older guy police think she is with right now. Investigators say Lacey left her home for school on Monday, but never got there. They say they think she met up with Robert Butler online, and she may be with him right now. Butler is 26. Again, Lacey just 14. But Lacey's mom says Butler told her he was 19. And she says she caught him in Lacey's bedroom back in February. So Butler is now facing a charge of enticing a minor for that. Lacey's mom also got a restraining order against Butler, but says it was not enough to keep him away.
The more and more I know, the more and more I'm scared. I want my daughter home. I want her away from this man.
Police think the two may be heading to Florida in a blue Subaru SUV, just like this one.
A teacher is busted in Albuquerque for allegedly touching a student inappropriately. Police say Kenneth Geel inappropriately touched a 13-year-old student several times at Taft Middle School. According to a criminal complaint, one of the incidents happened in front of another student. Geel is still in jail, charged with criminal sexual contact of a minor. APS has placed him on leave until an investigation is complete. The city of Albuquerque is still dealing with the damage caused by the cyber attack it faced over the weekend. As we reported, it was all prompted by the James Boyd shooting in the foothills. A group called Anonymous, which is known for hacking into government websites, attacked the city of Albuquerque's sites.
You know, the city is a big target when it comes to hackers and cyber crime situations, but to this extent, we've never experienced anything of this magnitude.
Most websites are now back up and running. APD's social media pages, though, like Facebook and Twitter, are still down.
Well, you always hear the commercials on TV and radio reminding you, do not waste water. We're in the middle of a huge drought. And this morning, a lot of people are wondering why the city of Albuquerque is wasting so much, especially at its parks. Park maintenance supervisor James Dunn says some of the city's watering systems are 20 to 30 years old. He says workers really try to avoid wasting water, and they look at wind, humidity, and temperature before they water. They've even added gravel borders to try to keep water from running into the streets, but there are still problems.
We've got a large system. We've got 300 parks out there, so we're constantly trying to work on any type of repairs that we need to.
Now get this, the Water Authority says the city's park management department has been issued 190 fines in just the past year for water waste. Those fines total more than $230,000. Mr. Dunn says the fines are budgeted for, and it's normal. The Parks and Rec and Water Authority could not tell us exactly how much water was lost at the city parks every year. Well, a mistake, a big one, is causing people to get huge water bills in Santa Fe, and folks who don't pay those hefty bills, well, the city is threatening to shut their water off now. It happened to Jeff Deringer on special assignment. We showed you he got a bill for $4,500 in January. After investigating the problem, the city discovered the radio-controlled system that reads water meters had malfunctioned. Deringer's device underread his water meter for years. But Deringer is not alone. The city of Santa Fe bought 37,000 of these units. They're from a company called Firefly, or they're called Firefly. This was all back in 2004, starting then. Well, a few years later, the devices started having problems. Some have underread water meters, but most have simply stopped working.
Data wasn't being pulsed into the truck, and so they would stop to find out what was going on, find out the battery was dead, remove it, and initially the company that sold us the meters was taking them back and sending us repaired ones.
Well, back in 2012, Datamatic, the company that makes the Firefly reader, filed for bankruptcy. So now Santa Fe is stuck with the remaining meters. 20,000 customers still have them, and plenty are failing. So what is the city doing about this? Well, check out the full story tonight at 9 o'clock on 2 Casa, or head to KRQE.com anytime.
This morning, there are new ways to combat heroin and prescription pill overdoses, which is a deadly and growing epidemic, unfortunately, in the U.S.
Yeah, just yesterday, the Food and Drug Administration approved a brand new device. It's called Evzio. It talks people through how to give someone who has overdosed a blast of what's called Narcan. It's a drug that gets the heart beating and people breathing again. It's basically a nasal spray you give to someone who has OD'd and passed out. Back in 2010, more than 16,000 people died from these kinds of overdoses in the U.S., and the hope is that number will drastically drop with Evzio.
And here in New Mexico, the rate of people dying from heroin and painkiller overdoses is higher than anywhere else in the country.
But that could change, not just from this Evzio product, but also because pharmacists here in New Mexico have the power to do something that they can't do anywhere else in the whole country. News 13, Samantha McDonald is live at Highland Pharmacy with the details. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Matt. Pharmacists here at Highland and all over the state can now prescribe Narcan. It's a drug that reverses the effects of heroin and prescription pill overdoses, and it's proven to save lives.
A large population that this would work for.
This that Tamala Saloy is talking about is Narcan. It's a prescription drug that saves people's lives after they overdose on heroin and prescription pain pills. And the reason the pharmacist here at Highland Pharmacy says it could work on a large population is because New Mexico is the worst state when it comes to people dying from popping pills and shooting up heroin. In fact, about 500 people died from these overdoses just last year. But now dozens of pharmacists, including Saloy, can help change those statistics because they're trained and certified to prescribe Narcan, the anti-overdose drug. Narcan can also save kids' lives if they accidentally get into their parents' medicine cabinets. Here's how it works. When people overdose on heroin and pain pills, they basically stop breathing. But now just about anyone can give them a blast of Narcan up their nose and save their lives. Just last year, the state thinks the drug saved 500 people's lives and is hoping for even more now.
They do usually go to the emergency room and get it, and if they get there in time, then they can use it and it's very effective. But a lot of people can't get there in time. So this is to have available so that if that happens, you can administer it right away while you're waiting to get to the emergency room, while you're waiting for the ambulance to show up, and hopefully prevent some of those deaths that are happening right now.
The state is hoping the pharmacist Narcan program works, particularly in rural areas where it's hard to get to a doctor or a hospital. Matt, back to you.
All right, thank you very much for those details, Samantha. There's a bit of good news this morning. The state is working on a list of pharmacists here who are certified to prescribe Narcan. Until then, you can simply ask your pharmacist.